My name is Natasha, and this is my journey of recovery. Whew, I started this episode because I was angry. But first, let's go over a topic that I am familiar with. It's called anxiety. What is it? What is this anxiety I'm talking about? Well, it's a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Thank you, Oxford Dictionary. Most people agree that a little bit of anxiety is fine. It may even be healthy for you. However, when it becomes too intrusive in your life and affects your life so much so that you can't handle it anymore, it is this anxiety, this over-encompassing worry and fear, that I will be talking about today. The National Institute of Mental Health explains clearly the symptoms of anxiety. Or at least for generalized anxiety disorder, the symptoms include feeling restless, wound up, or on edge, being easily fatigued, having difficulty concentrating, mind going blank, being irritable, having muscle tension, difficulty controlling feelings of worry, having sleep problems such as difficulty falling or staying asleep, restlessness, or unsatisfying sleep. It's almost like they reached into my head and and took out everything that I was dealing with and gave it a name. Um, Anxiety can look widely different in different people. Panic attacks usually have like your heart thumping or like going really fast or like sweating or like, just like that overwhelming fear and that doom that like you think you're going to die if this happens or doesn't happen. Um, so there are things that can help anxiety, like meditation, psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, medication, support groups, and stress management techniques. So, yeah. Anxiety, best friend, eh? Well, the way I have learned how to deal with my anxiety is to distract, evaluate, and be proactive. Okay, let's be honest. I tend to avoid things that make me anxious, but when I can't avoid it, I try to do things to distract myself. I listen to music, I talk with my mom, I focus on my breathing or letting my thoughts go. I watch a funny video or a relaxing video. Sometimes I watch TV. Sometimes I go for a walk. Sometimes I go for a drive. Sometimes I go and just eat something. Just something to distract me from this anxiety. So that it can either go away or at least go to a manageable level. Then I try to evaluate. I psychoanalyze. What made me feel anxious? What have I done in the past to deal with these feelings? How can I change things so that I won't feel so anxious? How can I deal with things if I'm not able or willing to change them? Those are some very good questions. And there are so many other questions I've asked myself. One thing that I've tried to do is not ask why questions. One of my therapists, he said, why questions become judgmental. So when you ask questions like, why am I not doing enough? Makes a judgment that you're not doing enough when maybe you are doing all you can. And so you bring yourself down by trying to expect yourself to do more when you have nothing left to do more with. So try to avoid why questions, but how and what and where or when, those kind of questions really help. Then the last part. The last part is very hard. I try to face it. I choose to walk into that anxiety and do it anyway. Sometimes I have coping mechanisms that help. Sometimes I have psychology tools that I draw from. And sometimes I just accept that I am going to be anxious and I do it anyway. Sometimes I finish whatever it is. Other times it's not pretty, and my anxiety may be sky high, but I try my best to get it done. That being said, if while facing my anxiety, and if when facing it and like my anxiety becomes so overwhelming and too much, I just start over. I distract, I evaluate, and then I try to be proactive again. I will say there are a lot of times that I just give up on whatever is making me anxious. I'm just like, meh, I'm done. um, I just decide that I can't do that right now. Or sometimes I even look at it and I'm like, I will never be able to do that. Yet with most things, I find that I have to do it. I have to get past my anxiety and get it done. So that's when I try my best not to give up. Having a support group to pull from does wonders for me. I have built it out of family, friends, and professionals. I know that last one was kind of like professionals. You can have professionals in your support group? Yes. Professionals can be very helpful at times. Um, so I have helped them, so they help me. I help my family and friends, and in return, they help me. Now, with professionals, it's not really me helping them, but they helping me, except for I do help them by, you know, paying them. That's a big thing. And or doing the things that they ask me to do so that they're more willing to give me more things to do, or to spend more time thinking about what I could do instead. Because if you don't do what they ask, then, or at least in my case, they'll ask you to do the same thing again, or try and figure out a different way of asking you to do something similar. And so it just becomes this game ugh, of like, will I do it? Will I not? Um, and it becomes a huge disappointment. And I try to avoid disappointment as much as I can because it just, I hate disappointment. Um, except for my therapist, when I talk to him about disappointing him, about not, doing whatever it was that week that I was supposed to be doing, like keeping track of my moods. He said that because he was a professional, it was his job to help me. And if I wasn't able to track my moods that week, then it was his job to figure out what we could do differently. So that was very helpful. Um, but with my family and friends, I have developed these relationships because I have listened to them and because, they have listened to me. We help each other, whether it's with hard things, whether it's with fun things. We've been there for each other throughout our lives. Or sometimes it's just more instantaneous and you're like, I'm here for you. And then it's like, whoa. And then you're like, best friends instantly. It's happened. Um, usually it takes a couple years, not a couple years. How long does it usually take? I don't know. But sometimes it is instantaneous. But that's less common, at least in my life. I don't know. Maybe you're different. Anyway, long story short, I try to do things to um, to distract, evaluate, or be proactive. I turn to the people in my life to help make things so much better. At least it usually does when I turn to family or friends. It usually helps. when I turned to them for help. But that's not always the case. So, we segue into what happened. I started creating this episode because I was angry. Well, frustration might be a better word. I was just trying to prepare for my new way of eating healthy. I've been preparing for a couple days now, and it seems that my anxiety keeps upping the ante. And today I had it. I was done with it. I was like, you know what? I can't handle this anymore. I was done. I had bought the groceries, I had put them away, I put the mason jars in the dishwasher, and done all the other steps my health coach had me do up to that point. Now all I had to do was put it together. I had to put the salads into the mason jars, and I had to cook a little bit and plan out my meals for that week and how I would cook it. Well, this is how my thought process went. Come on, Natasha, you can do this. And then I couldn't. I didn't know if I could cook the quinoa? Quinoa? Quinoa. What if I cooked too much and wasted it? I had gotten the wrong size of mason jars. I could still fit the salad in, but would I need two instead of one? I could still do this. I had to take the salad stuff out and put them into the mason jars, but I have no energy. I had the salad dressing I had bought, but it had a little bit of sugar in it. Would my coach mind, or would I need to get the the salad dressing that the program had suggested? I needed to send her a picture of the salad dressing. What if she didn't get back to me in time for me to start? Or worse, what if her answer was no? How was I going to get the salad dressing needed for my salads? Did I even like balsamic vinegar? I don't really like salads, but I can force myself to eat them, yeah? Yeah, it'll be fine, as long as I don't have to do any raw tomatoes. But what if I get hungry without those tomatoes? Should I substitute them with something else? No, focus, Natasha. You need to fill those mason jars. What if I fill them wrong? What if I don't have enough room in the fridge? What if... And so it continued. That's how anxiety is for me. Questions keep on popping up and I try solving them, but then more questions come up. And then I go back to the original questions I had earlier, forgetting the answers I had given and being like, what about this? What about that? Or is that even a good answer for it? And then the fear sets in, and then the anxiety just becomes overwhelming. So, so I continued. I just stood there, frozen, because I couldn't take action. I had no idea what I should do next. Anxiety was rearing its ugly head, and I had to sit down. I listened to music. That helped, but then the worries came back, along with new worries. What if I didn't make it to my job on time today? What if I did get to work on time, but I didn't have enough energy? What if I ran out of time to finish preparing for my health diet thing starting Monday? I was planning on going to my parents' place Sunday and staying for a few days. What could I do to start my diet over there? What if there was no room in the fridge for my food over there? What if... So I called my mom. She had to go, so I decided to sing and dance to my music, and then I broke down crying. Then my mom called back. Then I broke down crying again. I had to take several deep breaths in order to explain to her what was going on, that I was anxious, and she and my dad tried to help me. Um, so they asked me to use my therapist skills to help myself. And I started asking myself questions, which helped, but then I realized that my problem boils down to I don't have enough energy to do school, work, and this whole lifestyle change, diet that I wanted to do. And the whole reason why I wanted to do this diet was to get my energy back. How was I going to be able to do this diet to help me get energy when I didn't have the energy to do the diet in the first place? Then my parents interrupted. They focused in on how I wouldn't fail because I had talked about that. how even a 10% effort was a success. I heard it, and it was nice, but it wasn't entirely what I needed. At this point, it wasn't going to solve my I have no energy to do this problem. Now, I still don't know how I am going to solve this I have no energy problem. In the past, I have sometimes given up. Other times, I have just done it anyway and let other things fall to the wayside that might be important but have no place in what I'm trying to accomplish in that moment. I hope that I can be able to juggle everything, but I think that I'll have to let some things go and just focus on what I can do for now. I really feel that I will figure it out. I have to figure it out. Um, I will continue to go to work. I will continue to try to work on my schoolwork. That's struggling. That's a struggle. And I still want to do this diet because I do want my energy back. I want this lifestyle change. So I'm going to try and figure out how to have the energy now to get through doing the salads and the healthy eating so that I can come out on the other side with even more energy to do the things that I want to do. This is Natasha, and this is my journey of recovery. Thank you.